Welcome back to BYoungMinistry.com, to another blog and to another podcast. Welcome to those who access the podcast through Apple Podcasts, Rumble, Spotify, and YouTube. Today we continue our study of the Gospel according to Matthew. We're chapter 27, verses 55 and 56, which reads, "And many women followed Jesus from Galilee, ministering to him, were there looking on from afar, among whom were Mary Magdalene, Mary the mother of James and Joseph, and the mother of Zebedee's sons." That's Matthew chapter 27, verses 55 and 56. Today we return to our study of Matthew chapter 27, where the Lord Jesus has just died on the cross. It is an established fact that God has a heart for the broken, who are viewed by most as the least. A careful study of the Bible reveals that in God's eyes, those who are considered to be the least are the most blessed. Our brokenness positions us for great encounters with God, only if our hearts are bent toward Him. Broken soil has been known to yield a crop, while broken clouds grant rain. Broken grain has been known to be made into bread, and broken bread has been known to yield to us strength. What a contrast! I find it greatly instructive that in John chapter 3 and John chapter 4, we're given another contrast between Nicodemus and the woman at the well. Whereas Nicodemus was a man, the woman at the well was a woman. In that day, men were favored much more than women. Nicodemus was named, but the woman at the well was not. Nicodemus was a Jew, while the woman at the well was a Samaritan. While Nicodemus was part of the right group, the woman at the well was a part of a despised group. Nicodemus was considered righteous, while the woman at the well was considered a rejected sinner. Nicodemus was honored, while the woman at the well was an outcast. While Nicodemus was educated, the woman at the well was uneducated. And while Nicodemus met with the Lord Jesus at night, the woman at the well met with him in the middle of the day. As we redirect back to today's passage, God accentuates the women who were at the cross just after the Lord Jesus breathed his last. I find it quite instructive that as the hours rolled on, there were fewer and fewer of the followers of the Lord Jesus within eyeshot of his cross. These women who had been with the Lord Jesus from the beginning of his ministry were among the very few who lingered. They uttered no words, because in that moment after his death, they were stunned. They were trapped in arrested silence. These ladies were the faithful ones, though, even though they struggled immensely to understand what was happening that day. The first of these women mentioned in today's passage was Mary Magdalene. She was from the town of Magdala, located on the northwestern shores of the Sea of Galilee. The Jewish Talmud informs us Magdala was famous for its prostitution. We can't be sure, but many scholars believe that Mary from Magdala, before she came to Christ, was a prostitute. This has never been truly proven. Mary's attraction to the Lord Jesus was born out of the forgiveness that he extended to her on that day when he cast out her 7 demons. Mary was most faithful at following the Lord Jesus, more faithful than any of the disciples. She was one of those who were at his cross the last, and she was the very first to be at his tomb to witness his resurrection. The second Mary mentioned in today's passage was the mother of James the Less and of Joseph. A careful study of this Mary renders the discovery that she was Mary, the mother of the Lord Jesus. In Mark chapter 6, Mary is mentioned along with her sons and daughters, siblings of the Lord Jesus. When we compare the names mentioned in Mark 6 and today's passage, we find that they are the exact same. The fact that Joseph is another form of Joseph allows us to conclude this was a son of Joseph, the husband of Mary, the carpenter of Galilee. The next woman who was there that day, but not named by Matthew, was Salome. She was the wife of Zebedee, the mother of the disciples James and John, the sons of thunder. This was the same Salome who came to the Lord requesting that her sons sit in places of honor in his kingdom. In all four gospel accounts, there's a record of the presence of these women at the cross. Additionally, in each of the synoptic gospels, the detail of the women watching from the distance is noted. These same three women were together on the third day when they brought spices to the tomb of the Lord to anoint him. When they encountered the angel who told them that the Lord Jesus was risen, they ran to tell the disciples the good news. Mark's gospel is the only one that mentions Salome by name. All of these women started out at the foot of the cross, hoping for some miracle that would make sense out of it all that day. Then the Lord Jesus died, and they ended up on the fringe, discouraged and devastated. These women were last at the cross and the first at the tomb. The cross always unveils what is going on in our hearts. These women who were gathered at the cross of the Lord Jesus had been with him during much of his earthly ministry. But at this point of the narrative, theirs was a picture of hopelessness. As a result of the crucifixion of the Lord Jesus, they no longer had hope that God was really in control. In that moment of confusion reigned. Their faith was strong as long as everything went well. But when the bottom dropped out, their faith in him appeared to disappear. In the end of it all, we discover that those who are right with God are not right with this world. And it is in those moments of hopelessness that we discover that at the cross, God whispered to us to come closer to the window of our souls, closer to him. As we respond to him, we discover a deeper place with him. The God of the Bible always desires something far more for us. He desires for us intimacy with himself. Such is the nature of our fellowship with the God of the Bible. It is during these times that we truly get to know him most intimately. These times when our hearts seem to be too broken that we wonder if we can be filled. It is in these most desperate moments that we struggle with reality, only to discover that he is the only real one. All of this is good, even though we once thought it to be the worst. It is out of such that we discover the greatest things, like the fact that the light shines its brightest through the cracks created by our brokenness. My friends, I trust this blog and this podcast are helping you in your walk with the Lord. If I can be of further assistance to you, shoot me an email at BYoungMinistry@gmail.com. Hey,